Mums and dads, good morning, everybody. Welcome to our family service. I want to ask a quick question here, just to start things off. We had some good weather in the last couple of days, which is a rarity. You know, Mariana, she noticed it as well. She was happy. She was really buzzing to see some sunshine. And did anybody take themselves to a beach by chance in the last week? Anybody? Okay, right, so clearly it's too early for the beach. I happened to get myself to week because of building a sandcastle. It's a wee bit of a secret hobby of mine. Love building a sandcastle. Who here loves building? Anybody? So this side here really love building sandcastles, and all this side are just like, not for me. Don't love sandcastles. Building is, it's easy enough because we have the tools to do it. Isn't that right? We have our little shovel and our little bucket. Get to the beach and we dig the sand into the bucket, and it has to be the right type of sand as well. You can't be going to one of those beaches which is all like rocky and full of shells. It has to be the best quality sand for the best quality sandcastle. And you build it up, and then you knock it over, and you do a few taps on the top, and then it's the big reveal. You lift up the bucket, and what is beneath? A beautiful sandcastle. Boys and girls, did you know that you can be sandcastle builder? That can be a career. So when you go home today, you can tell your mom and dad, I know what I want to be when I'm older. I want to be a professional sandcastle builder. So mom and dad, support your kids in whatever they want to do when they grow up, okay? But look at some of these photos. So moving on, look at that. Isn't that wonderful? That's a step up from clearly using the bucket and the spade here. Look at the detail there. We've got the bricks, got some steps going all the way up to the top. It's wonderful. And then look at this one. That's a step up again. Seriously knows their stuff. That is no longer using the bucket and spade. They've got like towers and steps, windows. Look at that. Is that Hogwarts? Is it Hogwarts? That's next level. We've got a few more. Now, this one really impressed me because of the detail in there. There's countless windows. There's faces. There's little walkways. There's it's just wonderful. Cafe and a bar in there. You can't see it from here, but it is exceptional. But then look at this last one here. This guy was just taking the mick. He was like, I see your sandcastle, I see all your impressive work, and I raise it and I build my sandcastle on top of a dragon. It is exceptional, the detail there. But you know what's so interesting about all these professional sandcastle builders and they do all and they work hard, but ultimately, at some point, the tide comes in, and this incredible piece of work gets swept away. Or maybe it's not the tide that comes in, maybe it's the rain that falls and the wind blows. Incredible piece of work gets swept away. I want to share with you this morning a passage from the book of Matthew, chapter 7. And he's talking, and he says these words here. Everyone who hears these things that I say and obeys them is like a wise man. The wise man built his house on rock. It rained hard and the water rose. The winds blew and hit that house, but the house didn't fall because the house was built on rock. But the person who hears the things I teach and does not obey them is like a foolish man. The foolish man built his house on sand. It rained hard, the water rose, and the winds blew, hit that house. And the house fell with a big crash. Boys and girls, my guess is that you probably never built your own house. Maybe a sandcastle is as good as it's got. But maybe, just maybe, there's somebody in church this morning who has been involved in building their own house in some. And when you go to build a house, it's a lot more detailed than when you go to build a sandcastle. And actually, before on the ground, there's a bit of work to be done first. And you've got to get this thing here, you've got to get a blueprint. Okay, so this blueprint here, it doesn't even show you what the house is going to look like when it's finished. This blueprint here only shows you the foundations. It shows you the line ground where you're going to dig in and eventually start from the ground and begin to build up. It shows you the foundations. Now, to build the foundation, you can't use this. You can't use this because we know that's not going to cut it. And actually, we know that if we're to take a step up from that, we get to a spade, a proper shovel like this. Who's used one of these before? Men, get the hands up. Women, get the hands up too. There, that's it. That's a proper spade. But actually, see, to get the foundations of a house built, that's not even going to cut it. You've got to progress from that. And then when you hit rock, you've got to maybe move on to the likes of a pickaxe or something to really dig deep into the ground and rock. But even at some point, the pickaxe isn't even going to work, and you need to get yourself a digger, a JCB digger that's going to dig right down into the stone. Now, here's the thing, boys and girls. I know we've talked about building houses, but that's what a foundation would look like. But what we choose to build our life on really, really matters. What we choose to build our life on really, really matters. Now, everybody builds their life on something. Whether you realize it or not, you build your life upon, you lay foundations from which you build your life on. I'm going to run through a couple of things that maybe people build on today. So the first thing that a lot of maybe people choose to build their life on is money. And they have this idea in their heads that if I have lots of money, so if my piggy bank is bursting, or my bank balance is looking very, very nice, if that's the case, then life is okay. Because money makes the world go round. And if money's there, then we're going to be okay. Or maybe actually people like to build their life upon this idea of popularity or fame. Maybe it even is just popularity for friendship groups or whatever, and we think, well, if everybody likes me, if I'm the cool one, or if everyone thinks I'm special, then life is good. It's great. Or maybe mums and dads and adults, it is success. I build my life on this idea that as long as I'm climbing the ladder, then life is good. It's okay. But if I'm not climbing that ladder, if I'm not progressing in my career, then actually something doesn't feel right. Things are off. Or maybe it's relationships. Talking to our teenagers here especially. You know how that is, this idea that if I have this boy or this in my life, then life is great. As long as they are with me by my side, things are looking good. Or actually, you know what? It's maybe not about a boyfriend. It could even be the case that, it could be the idea of our family. Families are incredible. They're a gift from God, but actually, we can all of a sudden put them in that we build our life upon, and we think that if our family is going well, and if everything is going rosy, then life is good. And then lastly, this idea of, health. We can build our life on this idea. As long as I'm well, as long as, my health, if I'm well, or if I'm fit and healthy, or even if I'm youthful, if I look in the mirror and I like what I see, then things are going to be okay. Things are good. Some years ago, I went on a trip and I got to go to a place called Dubai. Has anybody ever been to Dubai? Hands up if you go to Dubai. There's a few of us who have been in Dubai. Dubai's an incredible place. It kind of blows your mind. It is just this incredible big city. And I remember arriving in Dubai and looking out my window and seeing builders build these massive buildings. And then I went to bed and I woke up the next morning and I looked out the windows, and the buildings that had been were so much taller. They were just growing and growing and growing because people never stopped building. They were constantly working. And in Dubai, you can find all levels of wealth, all levels of success. You can find the fanciest cars, the richest people, all the biggest celebrities, the most fancy buildings. It's incredible. But you know what is so interesting about Dubai? is built in the middle of the desert. It's effectively built on sand. Sand. But boys and girls, here's the thing about building our life and thinking around the foundations that we build our life. When foundations shake, the whole house shakes. You see, you can build the fanciest house, you can look really sharp, really, really cool. Foundations begin to shake, the house shakes. And eventually, if the foundations shake enough, the house is going to come tumbling down. So, question to ask this morning, and the question is this: what's a good foundation to build my life upon? And I want to say that the best foundation you could ever build your life upon is Jesus. You see, the thing is, Jesus doesn't shake. Jesus never leaves us or forsakes us. Jesus' word is true and it is steadfast. He doesn't deceive us. He doesn't us. His love endures forever. He doesn't age or grow weary. Jesus is the best we ever build our life upon. So, okay, that set aside, that's brilliant. Is it easy to do that? Is it easy to build upon Jesus as a foundation? We know that digging in sand is easy, don't we? We've been to the beach, digging in sand is easy. But when we get to the garden and we do some hard work, it's a little bit tougher, isn't it? A little bit tougher digging in the dirt and the mud. But then when we get to the rock and we have to get the and we have to really go for it, it's actually quite hard at times. It requires a bit of endurance. It requires a bit of tough work. You know, the work of being a disciple, the work of building your life upon Jesus, it requires us to commit to a little bit of tough work at times. It requires us to commit to, like reading our Bible every day or praying or committing to our church family. It requires us to do those things and to build our life upon Jesus. I'm about to finish, boys and girls. But just as I finish, I wonder if you noticed this here in the passage where Jesus talked about the house that was built on land and the house that was built on the rock. See, he talked about a storm, didn't he? And the thing is, whether you build the foundation of money or relationships or success or whatever it may be, or even if you build your life upon Jesus, the storms still come. The storms still come in our life. Building your life upon Jesus doesn't mean there be no storms, but it means this. It means that he is with you in the storm. It means he sits on an unshakable throne. It means he doesn't leave us in the storm, and he might choose to calm that storm, or he might choose to be strength in the midst of that storm. But Jesus is a firm foundation worth building your life upon. So boys and girls, here's and everybody, here's what I want to do. This is an invitation for everybody. We're going to finish now, but there's an opportunity for it's a little bit of a response, but it's actually just a little takeaway for each of us, boys and girls and adults alike. Up the front, we have a whole bunch of Jenga blocks. I'd love to invite you to come forward, and I know that this for 5 minutes will be a little bit messy, but I'd love to invite you to come forward, pick a Jenga block, and to write the name of Jesus on that Jenga block, and to take it with you, and maybe just put that Jenga block in your pocket, or in your bag, or in your car, or wherever it may be that you see it each day, as a gentle reminder that today I'm going to build my life on Jesus, not upon things that the world would set as a foundation, but on Jesus as my solid rock. Now, that's happening, and as sort of we're all coming forward and there's a little bit of mess and chaos, we're going to put a song on the screen, and there's going to be words as the song is sung. So once you've written the name on your block, come back to your seat and just watch the screen for the remainder of the time and listen to the words and just think about this idea of building my life. So if we play the song, brilliant. I think, there we go. So, come on ahead, boys and girls, mums and dads, adults. Let's all go forward and grab a little block, and you can help one another and put the name of Jesus there.